think we got things working today. Everything was mixed up on me this morning. Nothing was where it was supposed to be. But here we are, the December live stream. I'm shaking the desk. How is everybody? I see a few of you are starting to pop in there. Just throw a comment in the chat. Let me know you're here so I can see who's hanging out. That wasn't supposed to happen. We'll get to that shortly. I'll just give it a moment or two just to see if some other people pop in. A lot going on this morning. Messages going out everywhere. Emails going out everywhere. Like I said, say hi in the chat. Let me know you're here. Let me see who's hanging out. I've got a list of all kinds of stuff to go over. Dave Fleming, how's it going, man? Good to see you in there. Haven't seen you in forever. It's been, we haven't even fished together in like a year and a half. Gotta fix that. All's well with you. Dan Pattison, luckiest carp angler in Canada. Good to see you, brother. So I'll just start off while we're waiting for more people to pop in. Sorry I missed November's live stream. I know a lot of you guys look forward to that, and I didn't have time. I couldn't make it happen. I ended up working that day and didn't get home in time to actually do the live. It was just easier just to move on rather than try to do one at a weird time. So again, apologize for missing the November live stream, but I have a list here. We have a chance to go over some of the things that I was going to cover in the November live stream with the new things that I'm going to cover in the December. So we got lots of stuff to chat about and go over. And I'm going to check things off my list as I go, because I'm fancy like that. I need a fancier pen for checking off the list. How is everybody doing today? Is anybody else still getting out and doing some fishing? You know, it's cold. It's the weather definitely changed from yesterday. You know, snowy and overcast and dreary, which did work out well for me and a few others. But who's still getting out on the bank, whether it be carp, trout, what have you? Who's out still doing some fishing this late in the year? We'll talk about what I was doing yesterday shortly. It's on my list. Perch is next for you, Dave. Where are you going after perch? Are you going to do it locally? Are you doing it, traveling a couple hours to more popular spots? What do you have in mind? Because I know for this winter, perch is kind of on my radar. I want to do a little bit of ice fishing this year because I didn't go last year. Upper Niagara, there's definitely a few really good perch spots. What you're going to have to deal with there is a lot of small perch. The big perch are harder to find, but you can get them. There's tons and tons of tiny perch in those big schools of bait fish. I was filming up on the upper in November, middle of November, And while I was filming for carp, there was another guy there fishing for perch. And I would say for every keeper perch that he had, so every perch, say over 10 inches, or say 10 to 12 inches, he had probably 30 that were tiny, absolutely tiny. But he had fun. He had a lot of fun, and it was cool watching him, because we would watch these waves of bait fish come through, and you'd see them spooking everywhere as perch and what have you were chasing after them. So literally, there were times where he could just flick his rig out maybe 5 feet from the bank and catch, because the fish were coming up that close. It was wild. So yeah, definitely some good perch opportunities on the river. Dan's just waiting for safe ice. Yeah, I'm torn. I'm really torn. I really love being able to fish right through the winter in open water, but at the same time, I want to get some ice fishing in. But I also spent so many years ice fishing for perch, I want something new. So I think I'm going to be looking at a few other species. I was fishing with another popular YouTuber yesterday, and we were discussing ice fishing and a species that I've never caught before. So hopefully in the January or February live stream, we can talk more about that and what's come about from that discussion. Because it sounds like we're going to have a little bit of a collaboration there for that. Any steelhead videos anytime soon? As a matter of fact, it's funny you should ask. Filmed one yesterday. So we actually got, I haven't looked back at the footage yet because it was crazy. But we filmed a really good, I'm hoping what will be a really good steelhead video yesterday. We got into some fish, put in a full day on the bank down at the whirlpool. That video will go live on the 24th, Christmas Eve. So that was the annual birthday session. Tomorrow is my birthday. It's every year this weekend we try to get a birthday session in. The last few years we've been doing trout. So last year, I'm going to jump ahead on my list here, but we'll go ahead into that right now. Yesterday, I got together with Big Dave, Dave Pendlebury from Monster Carp Tackle and Raven Tackle, as well as Andrew from Actually Andrew Fishing. So for those of you who know his YouTube channel, it's a very rapidly growing channel with some really great content on it. His ice fishing stuff is really taking off, but he's got a lot of multi-species content on there. So the three of us went down to the whirlpool for the day and fished the annual birthday session / Christmas special. And man, did we have an absolute blast. We had so much fun yesterday. It was silliness all around. There was fish coming out. That video will go live on Christmas Eve. So there you go. You do, in fact, have a steelhead video coming soon. We're hoping to get at least one or two more through the winter. So hopefully we'll have another steelhead video in January, at least one more in February. We're going to work on that. Are you talking about Andrew's channel? Actually Andrew Fishing? Give me a second, and I can actually I'll throw a link in the chat for anybody who doesn't know his channel. So right there in the chat, we've got a link to Andrew's channel. If you guys aren't familiar with it, like I said, it's a rapidly growing channel. He's got amazing content on there. I think you guys will really like. And he covers multi-species, so there's lots of stuff in there. But yeah, he was fishing with us yesterday. Drove 3 hours to fish with us, and we had a great day. It was so much fun. What do we got here, Dan? The boom in pike on rice has me curious for some potential winter campaigns. I'm curious about that as well. I don't know what the rules are now, but when I was younger, there was no ice fishing allowed on any of the Kawartha lakes. I'm hoping that's changed because, crappie, perch, pike, all of that has gotten more and more plentiful in those lakes. So yeah, if you can still ice fish, at Rice Lake, man, give her a go. That'd be awesome. Adam Constantini, how's it going? Good to see you there. Adam, thank you so much for that super chat. Really appreciate that. As a matter of fact, I actually have something to mention about those sort of things. Really appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you as well. I get to say that again in the Christmas special, Fishing Steelhead, with 2 other YouTubers. It comes out on Christmas Eve. Yeah, so since Adam has thrown that super chat in there, it brings up one of the other topics I have on my list. I wanted to bring this up in November. Forgot to do the November live stream. Again, I'm sorry about that. But if you guys remember a few months back, we had an issue with that feature that YouTube has called the Super Thanks. So some of our followers had thrown some Super Thanks donations in there. And again, I super appreciate when you guys do that. It really does help me get more batteries and keep things going for the channel. But we had an issue with that where the money didn't come through. And it took me 3 or 4 weeks of back and forth with YouTube to try and figure out what happened there. But that issue has been corrected. So we did set up that Patreon, I think, back in October, so that we didn't have to rely on what seemed to be an issue with Super Thanks. So we do have a Patreon if you guys are so interested in helping out that way. I have a lot more work to do on it. It's kind of like a bare bones setup right now, but it does exist. But as far as the Super Thanks go, the Super Thanks does function now. I put it back on. It is working, and I shouldn't have any other issues with that if you guys so choose to use it. Okay. There should be a link to the Patreon, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like I said, it's just the simplest setup possible right now until I have some time to actually develop that a little bit more. And it's changed. They opened it again a few years back. Excellent. Now I'm curious. Ice fishing Rice Lake. I have one spot in mind that I would love to check out. The problem is it's a long drive for a day session. But definitely, I'm curious about that one. Man, now I'm all over my list. I had everything in a nice order. I was going to go in a nice orderly fashion. We're just bouncing everywhere. So yeah, let me get kind of caught back up. The birthday session has been filmed. It is Steelhead that comes out Christmas Eve. We're going to do a great big shout out. If you guys can all do a collective shout out. We all know the live streams aren't the same without Doug, but he's missed a few. But Doug's birthday is also tomorrow. Him and I share a birthday. So if we could all throw out a huge happy birthday to Doug, that would be great. 334 Outdoors, great to see you in there. I actually have to write you on my list for something else that I have going on. You're going to get a message from me at some point soon. Just be ready for that. Excuse me. Adam, I had massive success on Rice Lake this year with carp. Man, Rice Lake is a carp factory. For those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, if you can remember back to the 12 months of carp, the October edition, we had to split that into 2 parts. Was it October that we did that? No, September was split into 2 parts. Then we did the October edition, I think. I don't know. 12 Months of Carp was crazy, but in the October edition, a huge part of that was actually on Rice Lake. And that was probably one of the craziest short day sessions we've ever had. We were up in that area for like 4 days, and we fished, I think, 3 different venues, all kind of in and around Rice Lake. But we spent an afternoon on Rice Lake and absolutely crushed it. Just absolutely smashed it when we weren't expecting to, because we were there to visit Will as he was guiding Matt Hayes for a film that Matt Hayes did about fishing in Canada. So we were there to visit that, and we had a smashing afternoon, just crushing the carp right beside them in a spot that they hadn't baited yet. So the spot that they had been fishing, they've been crushing on, we go to the other side where there's been no bait and smashed it. We come back the next day just to say goodbye as we were leaving, and they were in our spot, absolutely crushing it to finish the film. And Matt Hayes convinced us to stay and finish our film, which he didn't realize we were done. So we just kept filming for the rest of the day, because when Matt Hayes says keep filming, you just keep filming. And we fished that whole day, which was supposed to be a 10-minute visit, and we spent the whole day there. There were times when myself, Goldie, Will, and Matt Hayes all had fish on at the same time. There was cameras rolling everywhere. Rice Lake was one of the best carping experiences I've ever had. It was just so much fun. Absolutely unreal. Dan Patterson, it's a bit of a trek for panfish and puke. I think you mean pike. You got to be able to find them in some shallow spots, though. Like, panfish are going to be everywhere. And the one spot I have in mind, you've got deep water, shallow water, and a lot of sunken structure. So you should be able to get on some fish there. Adam, have a great stream. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't get to see you before. Right back at you. Thank you. ONT Carpin, Mr. Galen, how's it going? As a matter of fact, I believe you had a message yesterday that one of the fish that Dave caught yesterday was dedicated to you at your request. So keep an eye out on Christmas Eve for that birthday Christmas special that we did, because you get a little bit of a shout out. And actually, you're on my other list for something else too, so you'll be getting a message soon. Pretty much spent the whole morning reaching out to individuals for something we have coming up. Rice Lake is the runs water of the Kawarthas, ideal carp habitat with endless amounts of naturals. Absolutely. And the thing is with that lake, everybody that I've talked to who's fished it, doesn't matter where on the lake they are, they seem to have a killer session. But there's just certain spots that it's a whole other level. And that spot that we got to fish was definitely a whole other level. I've never seen anything like it. Just rods going off everywhere. And keep in mind, guys, that's before the multi-rod rule. So that's when we were all only using one rod, and we couldn't keep that one rod in the water. It was absolutely bonkers. Can't wait for that episode. Yeah, it's I have to put the footage in the computer tomorrow. I have so much editing to do. I'm backed up. We actually have a lot going on. I'm still trying to finish editing the social. So any of you who are part of the Canadian Carp Society, who either were at the social that we had in October up on the St. Lawrence River, or at least know about its occurrence, I'm still working on episode 4 of CCS TV to come out in January. And the social is a big part of that episode. And that has been crazy to edit. We had multiple cameras going, constantly changing batteries, throw some timestamps off, just trying to put it all together. It's just been bonkers. But it's going to be a great episode. So for those of you who aren't yet a member of the Canadian Carp Society, join up. you get to see a lot of exclusive content that is members only, and it's really good stuff. The articles, the videos, the how-tos, just even the community in the feed is just unreal. So I've been so busy on that, I've kind of gotten behind on a lot of the Angler Files editing. So I have to edit the Christmas special tomorrow. I have to work on CCS TV episode 4 tomorrow. And I also have a new series coming up. Dave and I have been talking for quite a while. For those of you who've been around a long time, squeaky chair, you'll know that we did series like the 12 Months of Carp, which was probably one of the most fun fishing kind of storylines that I've ever got to do, and that was amazing. I absolutely loved doing that. We did the Quest for Carpopotamus, which didn't turn out to be an overly big fish, but for where we were fishing and the difficulty in catching that fish, again, that was an amazingly fun series to do. We actually filmed that while we were doing 12 Months of Carp. Took me like 6 months to catch that damn fish. It was right there the whole time, and I hooked it multiple times. It was right there. It took me 6 months to actually land the damn thing. So when we did the winter series one year where we kind of covered all of our winter fishing, doing those series was tremendous fun, and it kind of gave a little bit of a linear story with how our fishing was going instead of just random videos kind of, hey, I'm out fishing, here we go. I don't get as much fun from doing that. Some of them, when we have a purpose or a kind of a specific tactic to address, but I really like doing the series, and Dave and I have been talking for quite a while, and I don't really know whose idea it was, or if it was more of an amalgamation of multiple ideas that we had, but through our conversation, we collectively came up with a brand new series to try, and we filmed the first episode already. We don't know how long it's going to be. Could potentially be 30 minutes, could potentially be an hour, could be an hour and a half. We don't know. We haven't gone over all the footage yet. I know that I think it took about an hour for the footage to upload to my computer from one memory card yesterday. I have a lot of footage. But this new series is going to see Dave and I fishing brand new swims, spots we've never fished for carp before, or potentially haven't fished for carp since like we were kids or something like that. So the whole area could be completely different. And what's going to happen is one of us will go in, fish it their way, and then film the whole thing, but keep everything silent. So the next one, whether it's him or I that go first, we'll go in, fish it their way, either have success or not, filming the whole thing, and then we'll combine it at the end to see who was successful, who did better, who had the better results. And we can address two different ways of fishing because every angler is different. It doesn't matter who has more experience or less experience. All it takes is one good idea, and you can completely turn a session around. So this is going to be interesting to see how the two of us adapt to a spot that we may never have fished or haven't fished in decades, and how we address it to become successful. So we've already filmed the first episode. The series has a title, and this will all be coming up soon. The series is called The Breakdown. So potentially January, more likely February will be the first episode's release. And we already have 4 spots lined up, 3 or 4 spots lined up for future episodes. So that's definitely going to be coming up soon. Really, really excited about that, actually, because we had a ton of fun filming that first episode. And I think the biggest part of it was that whoever's like the second person getting into that spot has no idea what the first person had happen. So I won't tell you which one of us caught, if at all. I won't tell you which one of us had any kind of issues, whether it be weather or malfunctions of equipment or anything like that. All of this stuff is just going to be as it happened. So it's going to be fantastic. It was tremendous fun doing that, and it gave me a buzz for doing the series again. So keep watching for that. That's a series that's going to go on pretty steady throughout the course of next year. Let me just get caught up on the chat here. LP, finally finished work, now here, have a few minutes to relax. So when I was messaging you earlier, I was interrupting you at work. Sorry, buddy, but good to have you there. Galen, you're liking that idea? Good stuff. Dave, you're liking that idea? I'll get you some puffs. Funny you should mention that. I actually have about a dozen left in a bag just over there. And I'll never use them because puffs don't work, man. Nobody likes the puffs. Come on. Mary Burney, hi, I'm new here. Welcome. Great to see you there. Glad to see you joining in on the live stream. As you'll see, it can be quite a rowdy bunch in the chat, but you'll also see that this is an incredibly loyal group who are here month after month to chat and interact with me in the live stream as well as each other. We all get along great. It's a lot of fun. And all we're doing here is talking about what's been happening over the last month or two, what's coming up. Just trying to keep everybody abreast of what's going on with the channel. So good to see you there. Thanks for joining in. LP, waiting on the Mirror Lake series with you. Well, the Quebec trip is still being planned. There's a lot I have to put into being able to get there. But I have a few things in place that are already looking like it's going to be a little bit easier now. I can't say for sure it'll be next year, but I'm not going to rule it out. I have another trip that I really want to get out of the way that might actually be easier, with kind of like easier to do, bigger reward, meaning should get a great video out of it. But I'm sorry, I tell you this every year, buddy. The Quebec trip is in the plans. I just haven't made it happen yet. But I'm not letting it go. I haven't been to Quebec since the 80s. It would be nice to get back there. Fear the puff. Man, puffs don't work. Like, do you even still have puffs? When was the last time you actually caught on a puff? Like, I get that you guys used to catch on those, but it's nothing for pop-ups. Pop-ups knock them out of the water. Come on. Nice to meet you too, Mary. Thanks for joining in. Make it for 2024 so we have time to plan it. Okay. Yeah, you know what? We'll do that. I'll be old and more gray, but yeah, 2024 LP Mirror Lake, eat French food. Okay, 2024, let's make that happen. The only puff I see is the one my buddy smokes on the bank. Okay, so if you guys aren't sure what's going on with this banter between Dave and I, the puffs are a little hook bait. It's almost like popcorn, and they're just called puffs. I have seen Dave and Jeff and Brian and so many of those guys over the years absolutely slaughter on puffs, fishing right next to me. But there's a but. Okay, these guys smash the fish on puffs. No denying that. They, as much as I say puffs don't work, they do work. They get numbers. What I don't like about puffs is that if a fish looks at it funny, it'll fall off the hook, and then you're fishing with nothing. And fishing next to these guys with like pop-ups or bottom baits, what I always found is that the bigger fish usually came to different hook baits, while they got the numbers. So they would outfish you 10 to 1, but you'd usually have one good quality fish while they were doing that. So I like to knock the puffs because why not? Banter's fun. But yeah, it that gives you kind of a history of what those hook baits are. Anybody who gets the chance to actually fish with Dave, if he whips out the puffs, just don't worry. You're still gonna catch, but you're gonna get frustrated while he hammers them next to you until you get that 30-pounder right beside him. Man, I haven't caught nothing this year. Don't think I even remembered how to make pack bait. Shouldn't be that hard. You guys taught me how, and I still remember oats, cream corn, done. That's it. Oh, wait. Okay, there was another step if you were fishing with Jeff. You have to stop at 3 convenience stores before you can even get anywhere to go fishing because he forgot to buy oats the day before and he doesn't have any. So there's always that extra step. Fishing with Jeff is to have to go get everything at 5 a.m. before you can get anywhere fishing. Man, we are just flying through my list here. I have a couple other things on the list here still, actually. Haven't scratched it all off. All right. Those of you who have been watching the channel, you'll see that I've been experimenting with something new on the channel, and I know it's not for everybody, but there is a purpose for it, and that's YouTube Shorts. So I'm sure you guys have seen that YouTube has this Shorts feed that is very similar to things like TikTok or Instagram Reels. Now, I had put up a few Instagram Reels over the course of this year, and they've done okay. It's been nice. But overall, traffic from Instagram doesn't relate to traffic on YouTube, at least for us. The two don't seem to go together very well. So we have our Instagram audience and we have our YouTube audience. The Facebook audience is, Facebook. I barely post on it anymore because Facebook. But Instagram, I do enjoy Instagram and I love putting the photos up. But the Reels, I knew there was a better way to utilize the Reels so that it would translate over to YouTube. But I couldn't do what I wanted with Shorts on YouTube that I wanted to do with the Reels on Instagram. And then YouTube rolled out a new feature for their Shorts. So instead of having to hold my phone, this way to shoot Shorts and create new content all the time, YouTube released a feature where I could create Shorts from existing content on the channel and put it up as a 15 second to 1 minute clip that also links back to the original video. So you guys will see that I've put a bunch of YouTube Shorts up over the last, say, month and a half, maybe even slightly longer than that. I think I started in mid-October doing some Shorts, and these are all 15-second to 60-second clips that link back to the original videos but get thrown in the Shorts feed on YouTube. These Shorts have now accounted for over 70 new subscribers and like almost 30,000 new views on the channel. So with things constantly changing on YouTube, videos that we used to put up and get like 500 hits in the first week are now getting like 100. So there's so many changes where things aren't fitting into the algorithm the way they did because we're a very niche market, right? We're a very specific kind of channel. We don't do all the multi-species out there. I love fishing for everything, but we don't do videos on everything. Our videos kind of cover carp, trout, the occasional ice fishing thrown in. So when it comes to doing Shorts, I just hung up on my mother because my mother was calling. Don't get mad at me. Don't judge. She knows better than to call in the middle of a Saturday. So doing these Shorts has allowed us to grow the channel, get some new viewership on some of the existing content that we have, a huge library that spans back almost 9 years now, while still putting up something entertaining. And so you've seen a bunch of these kind of come out in succession as I'm testing out when to release these to hit that that prime time on the market. And this is an idea that I've been waiting to do for over a year. I had to wait for that new feature on YouTube to utilize existing content that we already had to make the shorts. So we mentioned earlier, actually, Andrew fishing. When I was fishing with him yesterday, him and I were talking about this. This goes back to a conversation that he and I had October of 2021 while we were fishing at the YouTuber social. So any of you who saw that video that we did, there's a whole playlist I have on the channel. All of the YouTubers that were at the YouTuber social in October of 2021. There is a playlist that has all of our videos spanning from 3 minutes up to the 3-hour epic that we shot. And while we were there, Andrew and I talked about shorts. He had just started doing them. And if you go to his channel and look at the shorts that he's got, some of them are in the millions of views. His channel has skyrocketed thanks to his shorts. That kind of sounds funny. His channel has skyrocketed thanks to his shorts. I mean short videos. He's not wearing like surfer shorts or anything in his videos. It's nothing weird like that. So yeah, watching his growth, just utilizing that, it's something I wanted to implement. Now I can. There's also some original clips we put in. There's that interrupted carp release with that 38-pound, 10-ounce carp I had in the spring. While I was trying to video it, Kevin was calling me relentlessly on Facebook Messenger. It was just a funny moment. So there's going to be a few of those that come out, but more of them are going to be what links back to the existing videos. And that way people can go back and see some of that old content that we have that doesn't get viewed as much anymore, but it's still good content, still stuff that I'm very proud of. So shorts are going to continue. Haven't decided on the rate yet. I don't know if we're going to do like 1 short a week, 2 shorts a week, or 1 or 2 every other week, something like that. Still playing around with the idea just to see how it works, but shorts are going to continue through the course of next year. They have been a big help. They are not going to replace regular uploads, though. While the schedule for regular videos and live streams are going to be adjusted slightly next year to accommodate more time for me to actually get out and make like the new series and other new content that we have in mind, shorts will not be replacing those. Shorts will be released through the week just to keep the channel active a little bit more often through the week. But regular video and live streams will be occurring on Saturdays as usual. Actually, one thing I'll mention, just since he's here, I was going to mention it anyways, but he is here. ONT Carpin, you see in the chat there, Galen. If you go to his channel, all his stuff is underwater carp. It's like the best underwater carp content I think we have here in Canada. And he's been releasing some shorts of little clips from his videos. You guys want to see some really cool fish swimming by a camera? Check out his shorts. Definitely really good stuff. Okay, that covers that topic. Check. Okay. I have 2 other topics on my list that we can go into in detail. Oh my God, why all of my stuff is just chats and emails everywhere. Oh, it's Will. It's okay. I was talking to Will before the live stream, so he's just going to continue to go on when we're not talking. Still haunted by those clips from the spring session. Are you talking about that April session, Dan? Is that what you're talking about? Because I haven't made any shorts of that yet. But yeah, it's tough to get that that session out of my brain. More so because for me, that session was more about the people that I was with than it was the captures. It was just like, how did you get this amazing bonus just having a casual social? It's weird. All right. Who wants an unboxing? I got a box of stuff from Carp Kit right behind me. Should we open it? What do you guys think? I got my winter bait order in a box right here. We should open that, right? Do I got scissors? Yeah, I got scissors here. Hold on, let me go put my wallet away first. What's the point of putting your wallet away? Everything's digital. Simon's got all your stuff saved and it just links into your PayPal. You don't need to have your wallet put away. It's still spend money. Improved carp angling. Somebody's eyes just opened up. Good to see you there, Nathan. Now, there's a little bit of funny with this. Anybody who orders from carpkit.com knows Simon is a character. We all love Simon. He's our dealer, right? All of us that have this bizarre obsession with carp fishing, he is our dealer. And that's just the way it is. And love him to death. Simon is an absolute character and a bit of a smartass. The amount of the tape that man uses. For some things, it's frightening. It takes me forever to get into the package. For other things, it's like, how did that hold together? You barely got anything on it. It's hit or miss. So what we have in this box here is my winter bait order to get me through my winter campaign. I tried to do a winter carp campaign last year. The weather had other ideas. And after only 2 sessions, we had in one night like 26 inches of snow fall on us, and it pretty much plugged the river with snow and ice for 2 months. And I couldn't get another chance to get a line in the water. So I will be doing another winter carp campaign this year. This is the bait that I intend to be using for it. And you all know I use DT baits. However, Mr. Simon thought it would be funny to package up this box of bait with a Munch Bait sticker and a smiley face and hearts. Just that little touch makes this so much more exciting to get anything from Simon, because you never know when he's going to do something silly like that. And it also really helps show that you have that connection with somebody that you buy a product from. You know, that right there is just brilliant business strategy. Keep your customers entertained and happy to be doing business with you. That makes the order worth it. Never mind what's actually in the box. That right there made this exciting. Now, just for the record, I'm not going to knock Munch Baits, because I did use Munch Baits for a couple seasons there, and I had nothing but positive things to say about it. The only thing that didn't work for me was the sweet stem, but everything else I absolutely loved. Dom Fishing UK. How's it going? Good to see you in there. It's a glitter bomb. If Simon sent me a glitter bomb, he knows that I know where he lives. And I would drive the 3 hours to put all the glitter right back at him. I don't think he would do that. Bubble wrap. Oh, yeah. That's a good fix. Okay. Let's see here. So we're gonna have boilies. We're gonna have some DNA liquid, pop-ups, hook baits. Got all kinds of good stuff in there. Oh, new sticker that I don't have for one of the buckets. Canadian Carp Society cards. And here's something very important that Simon at Carp Kit has been putting out with orders. It might seem very simple and odd as to why he's doing this, but I assure you all, it's important. 1 garbage bag. This goes along with the Canadian Carp Society's Leave No Trace campaign. Throw this in your tackle bag. When you're out on the bank, we all know that people are slobs. People do not care about the environment the way we do. Here's a garbage bag to throw in your tackle bag. When you're out on the bank, waiting for that bite, clean up the swim. Clean up the swim. Here's a bag supplied to you, so you don't have to worry about taking another one with you. Fill it up, throw it in the local dumpster or whatever park trash cans are there so that it can be disposed of properly. Bring it home, dispose of it yourself. But perfect opportunity to leave no trace and make sure no one else is either, so we can clean up the bank. One of the best things that we possibly have going on here is our Leave No Trace campaign to help make sure that our swims are left better than when we got there. Doubles as emergency poncho as well. Yes, that has saved me in the rain many, many times. Definitely a good idea. Hold on, we get complimentary garbage bags. Well, is that going to make you order more? You already put your wallet away. But yes, periodically through the year, it's not constant, but periodically through the year, especially during the Leave No Trace campaign that we do in the spring, quite often in your carp kit order, you'll find a garbage bag for doing that. So that goes right in the tackle bag. Okay, what do we got here? So you're going to see a theme, and I believe this is the only item that breaks from the theme for my winter campaign. These are the DT Baits boosted hook baits in pineapple, little yellow boosted hook baits. So I've been using the pineapple pop-ups, obviously, because it's pineapple. Ooh, nice. And obviously we crush, because everybody knows pineapple in Canada is just killer. But I talked to a lot of guys that were using the boosted hook baits in pineapple and absolutely smashed it up. I was using the boosted hook baits in superfruit in the spring. These are 15 mil. I was using 15s and 18s. And actually, one of the biggest fish I had of the summer, a big 29-pound beast, came on 2 boosted superfruit 18 mil hook baits on a hair. I had 3 rods out in one of my swims on the Upper Niagara that if you get multiple runs at the same time, you're in trouble because some of these fish take 100-yard runs downriver and you have to try and play up 2 fish if you got 2 rods going. So what I did was I found that I could manage 2 rods all right, because the bites weren't always coming at the same time. It's usually I would get one in the net, then the next rod would go. But I wanted to have a 3rd rod out just to keep my chances up. I was fishing the SSF for the summer in July. I had already landed 2 25-pounders and I think 7 or 8 mid doubles that afternoon or that morning. So it was working the 2 rods where, one would go then the other, and they weren't really going at the same time. And I had a flurry of activity just before I had to leave where 1 rod went, got that fish in the net, 2nd rod went, and I was playing that fish, and I was about 20 yards down the bank from my pod. I had a 3rd rod set up with 2 big hook baits on the hair, just so that it wouldn't be going off on all these small fish. I wanted to keep catching fish steady because you never know when one of those ones just isn't going to be small. But we all know with so many fish in this wild river, you're going to have to weed through a lot of small ones to get the big ones. And so I had 1 rod that was designated as the big bait, big fish rod. The only way it's going to go is if something big picks it up. So I had 1 in the net. I was playing another one that was, I think, 17 or 18 pounds. While I was playing that, the big fish rod went. And so I had to rush to get that small one in, get to the rod. And luckily, that bigger fish had stayed just in front. So it only taken so much line and was waiting. And I was able to get that one in, a big 29-pounder that was really, really long, spawned out first week of July. Killer fish. Improved carp angling. I used the boosted cold water green beast boilies I've never gone through a pot of hook baits so quickly. So many fish on those this year. Yeah, the superfruit boosted hook baits I was catching a lot of fish on. So talking with my buddy Reg and a few of the other guys that were using the boosted hook baits in pineapple, I had to try it out. So I've been finding that I was catching just as many, if not more, on wafters and bottom baits this year as I did on pop-ups in previous years. So I'm going to be trying next year, like through the winter and next year, I'm going to be trying some more bottom baits than pop-ups. Dom, which baits do you find work better in cold water, bright colors or more natural? If you would have asked me 2-3 years ago, I would have said bright colors, hands down in cold water. But the last 2 years, the last 2 winters that I've done, and actually throughout the rest of the season this year, I've been finding that the natural colors or very muted tones have actually been getting me a lot more bites. So just looking back to last January, I had 2 sessions in snowstorms in January, and I did catch fish on bright yellow banana pop-ups. The bright color worked great. But I also had fish on like the plainest, just like dull, kind of boily colored hook baits. And what was odd about that is that I was fishing water that wasn't gin clear, but it wasn't muddy. So because there was some color to the water, I put bright hook baits out, low light levels. It was overcast. Like I said, it was a snowstorm for both sessions, funny enough. The bright colors, I'll always have one rod out with a bright color just because the water might be colored, or like I said, low light levels. You need that visual. But the other rod always had one of these more dull colors, and I had just as many bites on the dull colors as I did the bright. So as of right now, I don't know necessarily which is better, but through the course of this year, I've actually had more fish on dull colors than bright, possibly because I started using it so much more. This winter campaign that I have coming up, which I'm starting, I think, not next week, but the week after. So in between Christmas and New Year's, I'm going to start my winter campaign, and of the 3 rods, I'm probably going to have one for sure on a dull, muted kind of natural color. I'll have one on a more bright color, and then probably just one on a pink, because I like these washed out pink. They go really pale, and you just got that hint of color, but the color's still there. So I'm going to have probably a bright, a mid, and a dark. Speaking of dark, the peach and sour cream pop-ups I've been using, they're like a deep brown color, like almost like an auburn color, but really deep dark color, and I had a lot of fish on those. So yeah, definitely recently I've been finding that bright hook baits aren't all that I thought they were. They work, but I'm catching a lot of fish on other colors and other tones that are much more muted and dull lately as well. Okay, so there's the pineapple hook baits. Now this is where we get into the theme. Everything else that's in here is one flavor, and it actually goes to what something Nathan said there. What do we got here? I was using bright yellow wafters topped with bright green luminous fake corn a few winters back just as a mess around, and it was the only rod that had fish. It's funny you mentioned the green fake corn. Dave Pendlebury, he's been fishing almost exclusively lately with 2 pieces of yellow fake corn and a green topper, green fake corn topper. Whether it be winter, summer, doesn't matter. Because he's such a crazy short session angler who might only get 2 hours in, a week, rips out, just has these pre-rigged rigs that he puts out with 2 yellow and a green. He's been smashing it. I haven't tried I think I did one session where I tried the green and I didn't catch, but he is absolutely crushing it with a green topper. And I've been hearing a few others are doing it as well. And it's there's something about it. I don't know what the green is doing, but it's definitely having an impact here, and something I might consider trying soon. Missing a trick there. Throw that box in the bin. No, no, I'm actually looking forward to using this because I did use the cold water green beast hook baits throughout the summer, spring and summer. Um, I was catching on them, and I was doing really well. But this is a bait that's designed for the cold water, and I really want to try this on my winter spots. So this one here is the double strength hard hook baits. Do have crayfish problems on the upper Niagara River. They went through a lot of my baits this year, especially the boosted superfruit that I was using. So I got these hard hook baits that should be a little bit more trouble for them. So that's a green beast. All this is green beast. I have the washed out pink pop-ups in 12 mil. And I had a number of fish on those this year. So these are the 15s, just so I can get some, for lack of a better term, normal size pop-ups. I also have green beast wafters in that natural color, and they were catching me fish as well. So I just wanted to get a little bit more of a range of hook baits for that flavor. Hey Dan, there's some more tape. So throughout the season, I was trying out these the DNA liquids from DT. I used the banana and I used the superfruit liquids, and these are neat liquids. I like these, and I definitely think they gave my boilies a bit of an edge, especially when we were at the CCS social on the St. Lawrence. I started out putting particle on the first day, and then everything after that was just boilies that were soaked in a DNA liquid and then coated with a little bit of the ground bait. And I had 3 fish at that social fishing chod rigs over the boilies, soaked in the liquid. But one of the neat things about it is that you've got, like, it's all separated when you put it together. So you've got your kind of base flavor here mixed with the other components that are all separated. And you have to shake it and mix it all together before you use it and put it on the baits so that it becomes all one consistent liquid. And then it soaks into your baits and has everything in it. I'm clumsy. So I've tried the superfruit. I've tried the banana. They're great. They really, really coat the baits well and soak in. And then once you get them out there in the water and they start to break down or fish start feeding on them, you get a slick. So you know when there's fish actually in there. The reason I asked about the baits was because I found a pot of 3 largish common in the local canal, proper wood carvings with that chestnut brown color, and hyped myself up to get the rods out. Only problem is it's been minus 3 degrees every night for the last 3 days, and the water isn't wobbling anymore. So you got some really cold water, but some really killer fish to go after. Huh. See, your fish over there, I don't know how similar yours would behave to ours. Like where I'm fishing in the winter in the really cold water, I'm fishing a very wild river that is always moving, never freezes over. And these fish have to feed more through the wintertime just to keep themselves in one place. They really can't hunker down. Whereas your fish in a canal absolutely can hunker down in the muck and kind of just switch off for a while. Myself, this cold water green beast is what I'm going to be using for the winter because my fish need to feed. They need a source of sustenance to keep them going. Still have tons and tons of naturals in the river throughout the wintertime, so there's always something there, and I need to give them something that kind of will trick them or make them think that there's nothing better than this, right? you're a smart angler. I'm sure you've got some ideas already going. I'm really curious as to what you're going to come up with for that. Um, like, are they moving around a lot? Like, have you tried maybe just like throwing bits of bread at them and seeing if they'll just nibble one and as they're going along, or are you finding them like sitting still in one spot? You've got me curious now, so I want to see what you come up with. I'm looking forward to the video of you getting them. So yeah, DNA liquid. I can't say enough about this stuff. And the green beast is green. That's what's really cool. Now, should have all the same here. Five kilos of the cold water green beast shelf life boilies. I found that last year putting superfruit boilies out and just kind of mixes of other boilies that I had, but the superfruit ground bait with crushed boilies, they liked it. So those 2 sessions that I did get out there fishing over my boilies with those muted hook baits and the banana pop-ups. They got me fish. So I'm going to go again this winter with a boilie approach. I actually have no intention of using particle this winter. So rather than putting corn out in small bits, it's going to be boilies, crushed boilies, stick mix, ground bait, stuff like that I'm going to put out there. And I'm going to focus kind of all around the cold water green beast flavor. So I got 5 kilos of this, plus I think the 2 kilos of superfruit I have left. And that's the plan for the winter campaign. A little bit more of a better food source than just throwing corn out there. You know, maybe a little bit of sweet corn mixed in, just for something visual on the bottom. But that's the plan, is to use pretty much just boilies and crushed boilies for the winter campaigns, because I'm going to need to maximize my catching in what sessions I get, because I may only get 1 or 2 again this winter before the weather comes in and I can't do anything for a month or 2. They seem to have sort of a 100-yard stretch. They move up and down, so hoping somewhere the sun is going to hit the water and melt some of the ice. Seen an orange carp as well. So they are moving, even though you've got a skim of ice on it. If they're moving, they're catchable. If they're moving, they're not just moving for this because they want to go for a stroll. They've got to be going back and forth looking for food. So you got to be able to put something down there that's going to stop them. And I would think that if you do find a spot that the ice melts even just a little bit near the margin, get a little bit of food in there, I think you're right on it. They're going to go there because it's probably a little bit warmer. So they're going to spend part of their day there at some point. And if there's food there, they're going to have more of a reason to be there. If you're seeing them, then the water's got to be relatively clear. So if you can get a spot where it's mucking up, then you know that they're feeding on it. And you've seen an orange one. I want to see you catch that one. I'm actually excited to hear your results on this. If it were me, I would be putting something like some kind of boilie that's not overly citrusy, something that's going to kind of spread through the water really well. Like, I find that banana works really good in the cold water, whereas some of the citrusy ones, they don't get as fast a reaction. It must be something with the acids or something that maybe don't spread out through the water column as well. You know, the cold water green beast is like a menthol and blackcurrant kind of thing, so it doesn't have that citrusy element. I would be using like a food bait type thing. I don't think I would be using plastics like you've had success on, to be honest with you. If they're moving, the visual of a plastic might get them, but I think if they're constantly moving back and forth, you're going to want something that they're going to actually stop and eat, is my opinion. If they're moving, they're looking for something. They're not just moving for the sake of moving. And being a canal, if there was one warm spot, they would just stay in it. They wouldn't leave that for any reason. So they got to be looking around for stuff to actually eat. How are we doing here? Just over an hour. Had a bunch of yous in there interacting, and I'm loving that. So yeah, there's the unboxing. All in for Cold Water Green Beast for the winter campaign. Honestly, I probably could have started that winter campaign this morning, but after hiking out of the whirlpool yesterday, I was in serious pain this morning. Woke up at my normal kind of 5 a.m. without an alarm this morning, and I realized, oh my God, I'm not functioning well. So I just laid in bed and thought, well, rather than go out fishing today, I'll just take it easy and just kind of let my body settle a bit. I must have fallen back to sleep because at 10:30 I woke up and realized, oh crap, I got to get ready for the live stream. So I missed out on a fishing opportunity this morning, but I'm hurting. My body can't handle that walk out of the whirlpool up those stairs like it used to. And, turning another year older tomorrow, I'm just reminded of how painful getting older is. Oh. Jesus, Dom, now all I can think about is you getting into some freaking beast's fish in the winter. That's going to be sitting on my mind until I see the content. Let's see. Okay, so we're over that. Okay, so we've kind of been touching on my winter campaign plans as we've been going, as we've gone over the baits that I'm going to be using. And I mentioned last year that I started a winter campaign, did 2 sessions, then the heavy snow came in and kind of killed the river. So the river does stay open all year. It doesn't freeze over. But what does happen is wherever you have a little slack water or along the margins, any snow and ice buildup that happens in Lake Erie funnels down the river and catches in these slow water areas. So a lot of the areas that I would be able to set up and put a couple lines out for carp, they either freeze over completely or they get filled in with this shove ice and snow that comes down and you can't get lines in, or you'll get there, it's wide open, you get lines in, then all this ice rushes down and takes your lines out. So it can be incredibly tricky, even fishing the open water on the river through the winter time. So with last year, I got 2 great sessions in, had 4 fish, and you'll see those in the video that that I put together for this winter campaign, because I'm just going to splice last year's activity into it. But after that, I think it was like 6 weeks before I could get out again on the river. And I sat in one spot for like 7 hours waiting for the ice to break up just so I can get lines in for 2 hours. I sat there for a whole day waiting for the ice to go away, got my 3 lines out for like 2.5 hours, blanked, and went home. I don't want to have to deal with that again this year. But for the past, oh my God, I've been fishing this spot for carp in the wintertime on and off for over 25 years. I've been fishing it since I was maybe even closer to 30 years, since I was a teenager, like mid-teens. When I was in high school, I started fishing this spot. So we're going back to, like early 90s, right? This has kind of been my all eggs in one basket spot for the wintertime. I started out fishing there for pike and perch, found out that carp wintered there, or at least came through there in the wintertime, following the bait fish as the pike and perch did. And because they were following the schools of bait fish, started going there when the schools of bait fish would fill up in that little area, and I would start catching carp. And that's kind of been my go-to winter spot for carp ever since. Funny enough, since I started fishing carp there, haven't even bothered trying for pike. And I really should go do a pike session there. But being completely shut down on that spot last winter, it completely blew the idea of a winter campaign out of the water. I had nowhere else to go other than spots where I could chase some small ones, which is great if I want a day where I just want to bag up on a bunch of small fish. But I have a goal. I really, really want to catch a winter 30-pounder. The upper Niagara, I think I can do it. But the earliest in the year I've ever had a 30 is April. And the latest in the year I've ever had a 30 is October. Yeah, it was October because Goldie had that 36 in November. So I always start my winter campaign right around the first day of winter. So usually around the 21st or just after of December. And it carries me through January, February, March. Last year's plan, I really wanted that winter 30. At the very least, a winter 20. I've never had a winter 20 in January, February, or March. Earliest I've ever had a 20 is April. So I kind of have two objectives. I want to get a winter 20 and I want to get a winter 30. And I really wanted to try that last year. Weather said, because I put all my eggs in one basket and focused on one spot. I spent the course of the year looking around, asking around, trying things, and I've come up with two other winter swims that I'm going to add into the mix. So if one of them is full of ice, I can go to one of the others. Out of the three spots, there should always be at least one open for me to get lines in. I hope. If we get a lot of ice coming down the river, all three of them could be done in. But at the very least, there should be one where I can get at least one line in. There should be an opportunity for me to continue fishing my winter campaign through the winter. All three are close to home. And so if it turns out that it's a weekend where the only time I have is like a 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. session, I can go to any one of these three spots and maximize my time for 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. I don't have to put in a full day on any of these spots because they're close enough that I can, two of them I can fish right out of the van. One of them, I'll need my barrow to walk 40, 50 yards. So it's really easy for me to get in and get out and get home as needed. So I'm hoping that this winter campaign, splitting it up over three swims, will actually make it, put the odds a little bit more in my favor. So officially, the winter campaign is going to start again, as usual, on the 21st. And it's going to go till the last day of March. Once we get into April, I'm going to be in full spring mode. I already have a plan for the first part of my spring campaign. One of the swims actually is going to be part of the new series that we're doing. So that will be very interesting. And yeah, I'm hoping I can really make something happen. At the very least, I want a winter 20. I'm pushing for a winter 30. And if I don't get the winter 30 this year, I'll try next year. Maybe even add another swim or two into the mix. Because I've got another one that I've been watching. And the results I had there this summer were incredible, especially since I never thought I would have found fish in that spot. It's a spot between two other swims that I did well in. And it was complete accident. I just walked over to take a pee near a tree that kept me hidden from the road. And I looked down and there was 30 carp right there. Between two spots I had been fishing. Walk over to take a leak, look down, 30 fish. Couldn't reach those fish from either one of those swims. And Kevin and I are pretty much the only ones that fish those other two swims. So it wasn't getting a lot of fishing pressure. I found 30 fish in one spot and they were there. every time I went there over the course of pretty much a month that I fished it on and off after work sessions and such. So my plan is to go check that out. And if I can see fish there in the wintertime, that will be a fourth swim. What will make that unique compared to the other spots is that spot's less than 3 feet of water. So if the fish show up in there for the wintertime, because there should still be some weeds there. If the fish are there, there's a great big hole that they've dug out in this shallow water. I have a feeling they're going to be around it, and I'm going to check it out. Galen, love the idea of a winter 30 campaign. Me too. I just want to make it happen. It's one of those things that it's going to be a hell of a lot of work, but it's the kind of work that I want to do. 334 outdoors. I'd take a summer 30. Do you have fish that get that size in your area? You must. Or do the alligators get them all? Dan Pattison, cue the winter mirror. I actually had, I wasn't filming. It was part of the fall SSF. But I actually had a fall Niagara River mirror. The winter mirror is a possibility. My PB mirror, which has been standing since like 1998, that I caught on the Upper Niagara in one of these winter spots, my PB mirror of 18 pounds, I think was caught in like February of like 98. In one of these spots, it is possible. I know of a 30-pounder, a 30-pound mirror that came to a guy fishing, specifically fishing a dead minnow in a school of bait fish that had come up when he was fishing for pike, saw an opportunity, got a 30-pound mirror in that same spot that I had my 18-pound mirror probably 10 years prior. And I did get a mirror on the Upper Niagara in the fall, which was my second mirror ever on the Niagara. So, what, 98 was how long ago? 30 years ago? 25 years ago? Something like that? 25 years ago, let's say, roughly. Or maybe exactly, I don't know. Yeah, for all these years later, to finally get another Niagara River mirror, funny enough, that one was 14 pounds. So it was close. I'm not ruling out the possibility of a winter mirror. I would absolutely love that. If we could do the 2 birds with 1 stone and get a 30-pound mirror in the wintertime on the Upper Niagara, that will absolutely blow my mind. Have to have me break that mirror PB. Yeah, definitely. It might take me another 10 years, 20 years, who knows? I'm going to do it. And I would love for my PB mirror to be broken in the same place that I got my PB mirror, my very first mirror. That would be special. The only thing that might blow that out of the water, if I got a winter 30 mirror, would be when I get to go to Quebec and fish with LP on the Mirror Lake, because they have monsters in there. 334 outdoors. They are here somewhere, but there's no reason for them to get that big. They shoot to like 20 and stall there. That's weird. Is it because it can't be because you have so many fish, because you're fishing wild waters like we are. So they've got to be there. They've just found a way to get away from the pressure. Have you tried any spots that are maybe a little bit less accessible? I've seen some clips of what you've done before where you've gone into kind of some open areas. Is there swims that you can go into and like maybe cut your own trail, break them up a little bit, and like cut a little spot in the trees or the brush and see if you can kind of create a new swim and find a spot that gets like no fishing pressure? That might be what you need to do. Loads of them in IKEA. Yeah, there's tons and tons of mirrors in IKEA. Yeah. I don't like going to IKEA though. I get lost. It's just weird. It's too weird. Hour and 20 minutes. Okay, what else do we have on the list here? That actually covers my whole list. We've had some good chat about what some of you guys are up to. I'm hoping the rest of you guys are as curious as I am about what Dom's got going on these canal fish. I want to see what happens with that. Like, you've got me excited to see your results on that. And for those of you that don't know, Dom, obviously given by the name you can see, he's from the UK. He does have a channel as well. A lot of multi-species stuff. It's cool. I like his channel. Always have liked his channel. I was watching his channel before I started mine. Definitely check that out. Might have to wait for a warm front in a week or maybe. Yeah, if you don't have any spots where the ice is melting, yeah, for sure. But you've already said it in my brain that I want to see that. So I need to know what's going on with that. Let's see. I'm getting a text now. Oh, the missus woke up. She's asking if I'm out fishing. I'm doing my live downstairs right now. I was supposed to go fishing this morning, but as I said, killer pains in my legs and my back. The whirlpool did me in yesterday. But what an amazing session. I don't want to give too much away, but we did catch fish. We caught some special fish. We had an absolute riot. Having Andrew and Dave there with me were just incredible. And now I've got Big Fish Angler Chad messaging me about a lake opportunity for walleye this winter. So, as you guys can see, I have messages coming in every direction for plans. Like I said, we're going to have a collaboration with Andrew from Andrew Fishing. Have to make that happen because fishing with him is an absolute riot. And like I said, he can put me on a fish that I've never caught before this winter. So definitely really looking forward to that. Going to end up with one of the smallest ones. The big fat mama looks 15 plus, might scrape a 20, but that's a proper one for a wild fish. Well, going by the description you gave, it sounds like they're probably really old fish. So that in itself makes it worth it, man. Honestly, when you've got some like really old fish that are dark and gnarly looking, I'll take a 15-pound old gnarly dark fish over a 30-pounder any day. Absolutely. Any fish with character is better than a big fish, in my opinion. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think the same way. One of the things I tell folks about my area is that we are known for 5 to 8 pound bass, and the carp version of that is in the 20-pound range. A 5 to 8 pound bass is nothing to sniff at. It's a good bass. But yeah, if you got 20-pound carp, you've got 30-pound carp. There's no way around that. They don't just hit a level and then stop. Not in mass, right? So you've got to have fish that are reaching that higher level, but they're going somewhere. And where you find 130, you're probably going to find others. So if you've got areas where you can go and you're catching everything, say up to about 12 or 15 pounds, and you really never get anything bigger than that in that area, then you know that that's an area for that size fish. You got somewhere where you can catch 2 or 3 20s in a session or two, then you'll probably continue to catch occasional 20s in that area. But if there's somebody that you know of that has had a 30 on that stretch of river or lake where you are, I'm pretty sure you fish rivers mostly. If you know where a 30's come out it's worth checking that out again, because there's probably a reason those bigger fish are there. They don't get to that size for no reason. From what I'm finding, where we're having all the bigger fish is where they're switching their food source. So for us, where they have zebra mussels, big zebra mussel beds usually equals bigger, heavier duty, rougher, stronger fish. Then the muddy areas or weedy areas where they're more predominantly on insects, bloodworms, stuff like that. Where we're getting the biggest fish, the most aggressive fish, is where we can find them following schools of bait fish. So in the river, if I can find emerald shiners, I can usually find carp, as well as pike and all the other predators. If we go up to the Great Lakes, if we find smelt, if there's a run of smelt coming in, there's probably some really big carp in behind. So finding them without a boat is another thing. Yeah. So obviously, if you had a boat, you can get into swims that you'd never possibly get into from the bank. But yeah, if it were me, I would be sniffing around for areas where I can get in and just make my own swim, create my own little bit of heaven where I can set up and put a little individual pressure on spots that nobody else can get into or knows about. If you can make that happen, you might be able to up your odds. But look for the areas where somebody has had a bigger fish, and sniff around to see if there's a different food source there. Look for the food sources. If you can find something that they'd be like, I know you mentioned one time there was a spot. I'm pretty sure it was you. My memory's not as great as it used to be. But you had a spot where like mullet come through as well, and the carp were nearby that. If you got a spot like that, you've probably got differences in the food source. Look around there, see if maybe there's some bigger fish in there. Team Carp Fishing. Hey, John. Hey, Paul. Great to see you in there. I don't know how much longer we're going to be going. You've missed quite a bit, so you'll have to rewatch this later. But I am happy to see you in there. And I actually do have to shoot you a message at some point soon, because I have an idea of something that I'm working on, and I'm reaching out to a bunch of people for that. So I'll have to shoot you a message later today or tomorrow about that. Do you want to let everybody know how the progress is going on some of your big epic edits that you have happening? We know that you have some stuff coming down the line. For those of you who haven't checked out Paul's channel on Team Carp Fishing, get your butts over there. Check it out. He's definitely got really, like, if you want some of the best looking videos coming out of Canada, you're going to find them on his channel. And if you want to see one of the biggest epic sessions that has ever happened in Canada, certainly ever on camera, go check out Prairie Banks. It's hard for me to describe it without using swear words to emphasize the power of how cool Prairie Banks was. But Paul's done some really great stuff in some other locations here in Ontario that you're going to see things just a little bit differently than you will any other carp angler that's doing videos in Canada. So definitely go out and check out Team Carp Fishing. Sounds like Prairie Banks 2 is fully edited. I don't even know the results of what happened there. So, and I'm always asking Paul to tell me what happened. He won't tell me what happened. It's a secret for everybody. So if you guys haven't seen Prairie Banks yet, go over to Team Carp Fishing, watch Prairie Banks, be blown away like the rest of us were, and then sit there in anticipation for Prairie Banks 2. 334 outdoors, like a quarter-mile downriver, is a spot that has produced 30s and bigger, but it's private now. So if that's the case, if you could get your hands on a boat, could you still access that water? That might be the option there. The food is shad and Asian clams. Well, that sounds to me like big fish food there. Thanks for the kind words, John. Soon to be getting out and doing something together. Yes, our schedules suck trying to line something up, but we are going to do. That's another collaboration that we have to have happen. Is the Anglophiles and Team Carp Fishing coming up with a new idea to fish similar is one of the tricky parts. But we did talk about some really cool swims as potential. Maybe this spring I'll have to go down and check some of those spots out. Spring, early summer, just do a test session. Maybe we should try that. Just do one test session, see how it goes in some of those spots, and before we go actually do a project together, because we did talk about some really good swims that neither one of us have fished. I think the real big ones are living life like strippers and fart dusting shad under the dam. Don't know if I understand that, and I don't know if I want meaning, but if you've got a dam there, you got big fish there. Stripers and cats busting shad. How did fart autocorrect from cats? It's not strippers, stripers, and cats. Wow, that's a weird autocorrected sentence, but funny. Hang on, I'm gonna just give me a second. I want to screenshot that and just save that. I'm gonna give that comment to my son and be like, read this. He's not gonna know what the hell's going on. Yeah, if you got a dam, you've got big fish there, and all year too. So even when it's slow everywhere else, the fish should be active at a dam. So much oxygen, so much food. That's one thing we don't have here in the falls is we don't have a dam. We have waterfall. And unfortunately, not allowed to fish below it anymore. Used to fish there as a kid. I have photos that I could show you. I have video that I could show you of some of the carp we had right below the falls, like right where the Maid of the Mist boats go. But the fish care is not something I'm willing to show people, because this was in the 90s when we knew nothing about fish care. So unfortunately, that stuff will never see the light of day. But it is neat for me to look back on every now and then and think, you know what, we actually fished at the base of Niagara Falls for carp and so many other species. I had my biggest smallmouth ever. Second biggest smallmouth ever came from fishing down there. As I'm watching the Maid of the Mist go by with 500 people going to look at the falls, I'm sitting there catching smallmouth bass. It was unreal. Might give fart dusting a go tomorrow. Hopefully I don't follow through in the window. Hopefully. Well, you know what? If you give fart dusting a try, maybe that'll break up the ice for you, and you can get those nice old fish swimming in that canal. Okay, how are we doing? Just over an hour and a half. I have a busy afternoon and evening coming up, and with the exception of this, I'm actually still technically in my pajamas because, like I said, I got up late and just started getting things ready for the live stream. So I think at this point, as much as I would love to keep going for a little while, because it's great to have you guys in there and chatting and interacting, I got a busy day and I got to get going. So thank you all for joining in on the December live stream. Keep in mind, Christmas Eve, I know everybody's busy with family, but when you've got a little bit of time, the annual birthday session / Christmas special will be live. That is steelhead fishing in the Niagara Whirlpool. So if trout fishing isn't really your thing, sorry that it's not really for you, but it is another video and it does go for our trout audience. We are changing things up. Next year's birthday session will be for winter carp. So that'll happen next year, because we used to do carp, then we switched to trout, and we're going to switch to carp again for next year. So we got a video coming out on the 24th of December, which will be trout fishing for our trout audience. January's live stream will give you bit better rundown of some of the changes for 2023. And the walleye video from last winter that corrupted and I couldn't put it together without crashing my program may actually be saved. Dave actually has all the content and he's going to take a crack at the edit for that. So if that works, that will be coming out in January. The new series that Dave and I are working on, first episode of that could potentially be out in February. And yeah, like I said, the January, February live streams will describe a little bit more about what's going on for next year, what we have going on overall, but also some of the collaborations that we've touched on today, like with Paul, with Andrew. Yeah, lots of good stuff happening. It's going to be very busy. And like I said, I have this other little project that I'm working on. I'm going to be reaching out to some of you. If I haven't already, I'm going to be reaching out to some of you just to get some of the initial stuff I need for this project. Once I know I have all that lined up, I'll be telling everybody what it is before it happens, so that if there's anybody else that wants to participate, they can. But there's just a few key players that have kind of had a role in how the channel has been shaped, not just friends and other YouTubers, but some of you followers yourselves who have kind of shaped how these live streams have gone. I want to make sure you guys all have an opportunity to participate before I just open it up to the public. So I will be reaching out to some of you soon, probably over the next couple of weeks while I put this together. And yeah, again, thank you all for hanging out, interacting. If I don't kind of do a random live stream between now and then, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all of that to all of you. Again, let's give a huge happy birthday to Doug tomorrow. Like I said, Doug and I share a birthday, so huge happy birthday to Big Doug, who isn't here today. He's got to stop missing the live streams. It's not the same without Doug. But I'm sure we'll rope him into joining another one soon. So yeah, again, have a great day, everyone. Happy holidays. Enjoy the holiday season. Get time in with family as much as you can. But also, I hope a bunch of you get out on the bank and get some fish. Remember, you can always shoot me a message on Instagram. I'd love to hear who's catching, who's having a good time. If you want me to throw up some catch reports on Instagram, I will. You get a nice fish through the winter, I'll throw that up there. Absolutely. Great to see you, Dom. Really looking forward to your campaign for these big canal fish or old canal fish. I'm really excited to hear about that, and I will keep you all posted on my winter campaign as it happens. Hopefully, I'll get more than 2 sessions in. So great to see you all. Thank you so much. You all have a great holiday season. Yeah. Thank you all. For those of you who are participating with the Patreon, like I said, the super thanks is fixed. For those of you who have been doing that, again, thank you so much. It's a huge help. Really appreciate it. Again, I apologize if I say it too much, but I really can't say thank you enough to all of you. Really, thank you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, happy everything, good fishing. See you guys in January.